aerial with actilift. Brilliant.
Now on Tiny Pop, Billy. Tiny Pop. Billy.
He may be sitting at the table when he doesn't think he's able. Then he's high up in the sky, making people say, "Oh my!" And when he's sitting in the bath, it takes him down a different path. It doesn't take him very long, so that we can sing our song, 'cause he's a... He's a... He's always swinging high. When he's dreaming, he can fly, 'cause he's...
It was a nice sunny morning, and Billy was walking through the park on his way to school.
When all of a sudden I realised I hadn't done my homework, and we had a test on cavemen and dinosaurs.
Billy was wondering what to do when all of a sudden he heard a roar.
It was a bright green dinosaur. It had big teeth and it chased after me.
Billy ran through the park and hid in some trees.
I hadn't noticed them before. They had giant leaves and funny colours.
In fact, it was a huge prehistoric forest full of insects and strange noises. Billy noticed a path and he followed it to see where it went.
Suddenly I heard this squawk, and I thought it was a dinosaur again.
But when Billy turned around, he saw a strange scruffy bird with red feathers and a blue beak.
You're not a dinosaur.
It didn't look very happy, and Billy wondered if it had lost its nest.
Never mind, I said. I'll help you find it.
The two of them followed the path until they came to a rocky clearing. The scruffy bird started to look for worms and walked into a big round rock. Then suddenly there was a shout.
Oi! That's a very important piece of engineering!
And then a caveman with a bandage on his foot came out of a cave and limped towards Billy. He said his name was Arthur, and he was the world's first inventor.
He let me see some of his inventions.
This is something to help you sleep,
said Arthur, pointing at a slab of rock.
It didn't look very comfortable.
But Arthur said he always fell fast asleep when he put his head on the pillow. Then Arthur showed Billy his life raft invention, which was also cunningly fashioned from a slab of rock.
He showed me more inventions, like his magic carpet invention, and his trampoline invention, and his sofa invention. They all looked exactly the same.
It's not easy making everything out of stone, you know,
said Arthur.
Especially when I keep dropping lumps of it on my foot.
And Arthur pointed to the bandage.
Why don't you use something else, I said.
Listen, lad,
said Arthur.
This is the Stone Age. Everything has to be made from stone. Even metal's no good because it hasn't been discovered yet.
Then he pointed at the scruffy bird, who'd just walked into a big round rock again.
I see you found a hopeless bird,
he said.
They're hopeless in everything.
Then the hopeless bird fell over, stood up, fell over, stood up, fell over, stood up, fell over, stood up again, fell over, stood up again, and fell over. Billy asked where the birds lived.
I'll take you there in my new invention, if you like,
said Arthur, pointing to the big round rock.
When I finished it.
Billy and the hopeless bird watched as Arthur hammered at the rock, and the more he hammered, the more Billy realised what he was making.
A wheel, I cried.
Ouch!
Arthur shouted, hitting his thumb with the hammer.
What did you say?
You're making a wheel,
replied Billy. Arthur looked at the rock.
That's interesting. I was going to call it a beef burger, but wheeled sounds much better.
Then Billy and the hopeless bird helped Arthur to finish his wheel.
He was pleased even more when I suggested putting a hole in the middle.
Now we can travel wherever we like,
said Arthur, and rolled the wheel into his cave. There was a loud rumbling noise, and out of the cave came a big one-wheeled car.
I've invented the world's first sausage,
announced Arthur.
I told Arthur his sausage was great, but didn't he think car was a better name?
No,
said Arthur.
Now get into the sausage and we'll get going.
Suddenly, Billy heard a ginormous roar. The bright green dinosaur with great big teeth was back. It looked very, very hungry. Arthur started to push as fast as he could.
Where's the engine, I asked.
You're looking at him,
replied Arthur. The dinosaur was getting closer, but luckily, Billy and Arthur reached the top of the hill. They zoomed down the other side, leaving the angry dinosaur far behind.
That was a close one, I said.
And then he poked his tongue out.
We were going really fast, for a sausage anyway. Soon we could see the hill where the other hopeless birds lived.
Arthur told Billy to prepare for braking.
How do you brake, I said.
We'll use that tree,
How do you use a tree to brake?
said Billy.
Careful,
I think Arthur's just invented the world's first car crash.
Billy and Arthur climbed out of the car and put the hopeless bird down on a log, where it sat happily for a while before forgetting where it was again.
I pointed to the other hopeless birds, who were busy falling out of trees and flying into each other.
A tear of happiness ran down the bird's blue beak, and it waddled off to find its nest, in the wrong direction.
Bye, hopeless bird, I said.
While Arthur prepared the car for their journey home. Soon they were heading back towards Arthur's cave, when all of a sudden, the angry green dinosaur jumped out in front of them.
Not again, I said.
Arthur tried to steer round the dinosaur, but it was too late. The dinosaur opened his mouth and bit the wheel. Then a funny thing happened. All the dinosaur's teeth shattered and fell out. The monster started crying and ran away.
Thanks for all your help, Billy,
said Arthur.
but it's getting late and I think you should be going home.
I shook Arthur's hand and said goodbye.
Then Arthur went back into his cave to work on more inventing. Billy walked back into the prehistoric forest and followed the path back to the park.
I was really late for school, but I made it just in time for the test. Thanks to Arthur, this would be easy.
Thought Billy, and he started writing. Later that day, Mrs. Moores gave out the test marks.
And you know what I got? An F. F for fail.
Mrs. Moores said she found Billy's story very interesting, but completely unbelievable. But we know differently, don't we?
Next on Tiny Pop, Nellie and Caesar visit Mina, who's making a spice cake with fruit in Nellie and Caesar.
Not right now. I'm baking a cake. Come see.
forget, you can catch it again on Tiny Pop Plus One, Sky Guide 625. Spend your evening with Tiny Pop.